Good morning. It is May 12th, 2025. It's a Monday. And yesterday was Mother's Day, and I had a chance to preach a kind of a Mother's Day message and chose to talk about the person of Mary. And, I haven't spent a lot of time looking at Mary, just bits and pieces of things I've read over the years. And I think in our evangelical faith tradition, we're always reluctant to speak a lot about Mary because we're afraid that we're going to be, at risk for putting her on a pedestal and taking attention away from Jesus. And I think that's kind of a narrow view. I think we should spend some time really looking at different characters and realizing that, they were people just like us. The advantage that we have is that we know how the story ends. We know, like in Mary's case, all the things that she was going to have to go through, from getting visited by an angel telling her that she's going to have a child named Jesus who's going to assume the throne of David. We know that she witnessed all the miracles of Jesus, and she had to experience the pain of seeing Jesus die, and then she got to witness him rising from the dead. And I think we just kind of easily forget that she was a person just like us, but she was living in real time all these different experiences, and we get the benefit of knowing the story. So what I spent time on is just looking at Mary, and a couple notes that I make, which we've probably all seen before, but I think really stand out, is that Mary just was a person of remarkable faith. And I think about a few verses where, the angel is coming to her in Luke chapter 1 and saying, "You're going to give birth to Jesus." And, obviously she has tons of questions, but the simple words of her saying, "According to your word, let this be done to your servant," is just remarkable. That she was willing to accept the challenges, the doubts, the rejection, all the different things that she undoubtedly experienced. She said, "Lord, let it be done." And it just kind of reminded me of Jesus's words on the night of his, betrayal and almost crucifixion the next morning, when he just says, "Thy will be done, Lord." And he's asking for the cup to be taken away from him if it's at all possible, but he says, let your will be done. And just how similar those prayers are and those words are. And I just think she's a remarkable person because there were lots of loose ends in her life, lots of questions, but she had the faith to say, "Lord, let it be done to me." And that's just a real challenge to us, because we like things to be cleaned up. I know for my life, I don't like to have a lot of loose ends and questions before I have faith. But Mary chose to have faith, and she stood out in her faith among so many characters in Scripture. So something to look at. And I think her prayer in Luke chapter 1 is just beautiful, where she just prays to God and just points out his might, his holiness, his mercy, his justice, his provision. And she reminds Elizabeth that God is a God of generational mercy. And that is a beautiful thing. Good reminder for us today. So have a great day. Something to think about, and take care.